Hey guys, Frank here. Today we'll check out some stories from /AskReddit. Here's the first. What is one kink you'll never understand how people have it? The whole financial submission thing. Sorry, I don't get the appeal of paying someone to treat you like an ATM. Anything involving body mutilation. Some dudes take it way too far and cut their dicks off and ship. At that point I'll argue it's a mental illness rather than a kink. Animal abuse or scat obsession that's just gross and unethical. Anything involving ship, vomit, spit, pee, etc. Edit, by spit I mean literally spitting on the person and playing with it and being aroused by that LMAO. I didn't mean kissing or mouth to mouth. Vor. Can some vor person explain how getting eaten is hot? The whole cuck thing. Just don't get it. 1. Family anything, stepmom and stepsister or calling someone daddy. 2. Anything with pee and ship. Getting kicked in the balls. What the heck is that all about? Scat, golden showers and vomit, no shaming, just not for me, and I don't understand the appeal. Watching your beloved wife get pounded by another man. I can't trust a person that is into that. I'm pretty open-minded, but that is wild to me. I don't think any kink is supposed to be understood by anyone who doesn't feel it. That's something deep inside that is hard to conceptualize for other people. Cuckolding or cuckweening. I'm very possessive, lol. This baby kid feed and pamper thing. Don't know how it is called, but it's gross. Don't kink shame. Unless they are into humiliation, in which case they are a disgusting pervert who should be ashamed of themselves. Mild S&M is one thing, but there are men out there who get off from having their nuts repeatedly kicked or stamped on. WTH. Here's story 2. What is more traumatic than people think? Taking care of a parent with dementia, Alzheimer's. Chronic illness. The duration of it and the things you need to overcome are fucking traumatic. A bad boss or a toxic workplace. Emotional invalidation as a child. It may seem like a small thing at the time, but later on you find out you have no vocabulary for describing what you're feeling, or you're not even sure you're feeling things at all. Parents with severe depression, mental illness. Long-term loneliness, especially when you're a child. Neglect as a child. You carry it your whole life. Realizing someone you deeply cared about only valued what you could do for them, not who you are as a person. That quiet kind of betrayal hits deeper than most people expect. Being the joke of a friend group. Having a workaholic parent who's hardly ever home, and even when they do come home, they usually don't really want to spend time doing anything with you, like a shared hobby, or even just watching TV shows together, so much as they are keeping an eye on you. Instills within you the notion that your time, your company, and your feelings are not worth prioritizing. Having to distance yourself from your family to keep your own sanity. In other words, setting boundaries. Homelessness is much more than a state of residence. Having someone you love in agony begging you for help and there being nothing you can do to help them. Depression, anxiety. I don't think people truly understand what it's like unless they've been through it. Being around people who constantly criticize everything about you. Here's story 3. Teacher of Reddit, what's a question a child asked in class that absolutely broke your heart? I worked at a special ed preschool. The 4-year-old boy had missed a week of school. We found out he had pneumonia and was admitted to the hospital. When he came back to school, he asked me, "Did you know that when you're in the hospital you can eat and eat until you're full?" I knew his family struggled financially, as most of our students' families did. But hearing him say that really broke me up. I started sending him home with extra food as often as I could. Early 2000s. Third grade student asks, "Will you be my dad?" I later learned that he was in foster care and that it wasn't going well. They are always asking for food, but one kid said he didn't eat for 3 days straight and it just broke my heart. I was doing eye exams at a school, kindergartners. This little girl was next and I asked her to read the chart, she couldn't. We tried both eyes, distance, I did everything. I looked at her, she smiled back at me the sweetest, tenderest smile, and I said, "Baby, you haven't been able to see anything the teacher has shown you and nobody picked up on it, how was that?" 11-year-old kid said, "You don't even know me, how can you care about someone you don't even know?" He's the most sad kid, who is so hard on himself and doesn't have many close friends. You can tell he gets no love at home. You just want to adopt them all, breaks your heart in half. I was reading a book where a mouse runs away from his family and after he ran away there was a line about, "There's not a daddy to play with me." One girl kinda burst out laughing and said, "Daddies don't play." I quickly redirected before some other kid could say, "My daddy plays with me." Another time I had a kid say, "We just moved into a new house with a new daddy, the home lives, these kids have just break my heart." I've had some real heart-wrencher situations with students, but not so much about things that they said. Also, I teach high school and they hide a lot more. So the one that cut me the most was a student I had this past year who was autistic. Whenever he would email me or ask me questions about irregular school day activities, he would apologize profusely for bothering me. I told him time and time again that he wasn't bothering me and had no reason to apologize, but I also know that it was something lodged in his brain that he would have to overcome on his own. My mom had a kid ask, "Can I talk to you after class?" She then proceeded to tell my mom that her dad was sexually abusing her. My mom was really late coming home that day. Not a teacher, but when I was in school, I remember one kid asking the teacher if there was life after death. She said she wasn't sure and the kid responded, "I hope there is because I want to see my sister again." I worked with recent immigrants and refugees. I told my students that I would be moving to Japan the next year, and the next day, one student asked me, "Do you know about the lost generation? Do you know about the self-injury rates?" He asked me a few more questions about some of the downsides of living in Japan. Come to find out he had spent hours researching Japan and wanted me to know about every facet. He told me he knew nothing about America when he was made to move here and was terrified of the country and its people, so he wanted me to be prepared when I moved. I cried in my car. "Will you take me home and let me live with you?" I was a student teacher. When I taught Prec 3, had a little girl who would go on this wild, screaming tantrums, yelling, among other things, "I hate you, I hate you." One day, I hit the end of my rope and said, "Libby, I love you." It stopped her cold in her tracks. Freaking 3 years old and being told I love you shocked her so much, she stopped screaming. All these stories are so heartbreaking. I wish everyone could have their own MS. Honey. On the 9th of November while watching the towers fall on the TVs, I asked my 5th grade teacher point blank, "Is my mom going to be okay? She's in Manhattan on a work trip today." I have never seen the color go out of someone's face so quickly, my lord, she's fine. She has never spoken about what happened that day. I teach unaccompanied foreign minors. Generally, they are pretty tough teenage boys. They have experienced a long journey of wandering, strewn with various forms of violence and injustice. They have a very hard, surly shell. After a while together, when trust is established, some just asked for a little innocent hug. Just for a moment, they are children again. Children who haven't seen their mother, father for months or years and who just need a moment of tenderness. Every time it happens, my heart breaks for them. Here's story 4. What will likely happen after today's Ukrainian military operation? Between Ukraine and Russia, who knows what the outcome will be tomorrow? For the rest of the world, we've seen a new preview of what war looks like in the 21st century, and every country is taking notes. People are bringing up the physical damage caused, which is valid, but they are missing how this will cause Russia to seriously tighten its security throughout the country. The war will become more visible for the Russian citizens, who will have to deal with the new hassles created by added security measures, which will also cost money to implement. Russia will threaten nuclear war for the 78th time this year, and a few Russian generals will fall out of windows. A few high-ranking Russian officials will have window-related accidents. Probably a half-acid missile barrage that's called Divine Retaliation by the Russian MSM, possibly featuring another one of those Oreshnik missiles. Putin will want to demonstrate very quickly why he should remain in power. Russia will engage in some sort of operation against civilians. I remember being astounded when I spent a brief time in Russia that they did not care about doing important things, but they cared very, very much about being viewed as important. Putin will throw a tantrum and escalate. Expect heavy missile barrages on civilians and a pretty significant false flag event. I also expect an increase in Russian propaganda and paying off high-level Americans to try to turn the public perception. Putin is embarrassed, and an embarrassed narcissist is an ugly thing. It's going to be a rough day for Ukrainian civilians tomorrow. We'll sleep a bit better here in Finland, knowing that the Russian garbage slowly piling on our borders will be slightly curbed for a while. Would not be surprised to see Trump castigate Zelensky for not wanting peace. Russia will have less resources for launching long-range strikes and will be forced to devote more resources to defending their airfields within their own borders. This isn't the first, second, or third major move within Russian borders that Ukraine has undertaken, and Russia's inclination to keep fighting didn't change at all. Someone bring me up to speed. What did Ukraine just do? I am a peaceful civilian from Ukraine. After this situation, things will only get better, because now Russia has half as many planes to launch missiles. Before, for example, 12 planes could take off at night, and a small portion of the missiles they launched couldn't be intercepted. With the number of planes they have left, they have almost no chance of causing damage. I also don't understand when people talk about a response. No one fights at half strength just to save something for a retaliation. I freaking love these crazy bastards. That wraps it up. Alright folks, follow for more stories with Frank.